Hello, this is LordUg and welcome to a Don't Starve Tips edition. Well, that's because I keep getting asked a lot about how to start off. So here's a few tips. They're not going to get the game done for you or set you up to finish the game, but it might help you with a good start. Now, of course, tip number one is obvious really. Collect everything. Then from the very start, as you can see, this is from the start of a world, you just pick up everything. Of course, concentrate mostly on grass, saplings, and, well, you're going to need flint, of course, and make sure you pick up that food. Get some berries, carrots, things like that, get them picked up, because you're not going to get a crock pot set up for at least a day or two. My second tip may not be hugely vital, but I find it just better when I do this, and that is when you find your first flint, the first thing people do is make an axe, right? Now, the problem with that is if you make an axe, you've then got to find 2 more flint to make a pickaxe, so you can get more rock and axe and things like flint and things like that. So what I tend to do is when I get my first flint, I don't make an axe. I keep looking around and find a second flint, and then I make a pickaxe first, for the simple reason that there's usually rocks about, so then you can run up to the closest rock, whack it, get a flint and get an axe instantly. Whereas if you do it the other way around and you get an axe first, you've then got to still keep running around looking for flint just to get the next tool, which is the pickaxe. So it's not a big groundbreaking thing. It won't make a big difference in the grand scheme of things, because usually you will find flint on your world and plenty of it. But as you can see here, I held on to this one piece of flint. Another one showed up. As soon as I got that, then I make my pickaxe, and then straight away to a rock, smash that, and then I can make an axe straight after it. So I just find that easier from my point of view. And I said this one will just give me rock, but you get the idea. And yeah, so I just find that, but that's up to you. That's just a little tip that I usually find, just helps me along that little bit quicker. Because I did actually have a world once where I could not find flint, and I got kind of stuck by because I made an axe first. So it was just something that came to me. Tip 3. Tree guards don't usually spawn in game until after day 3, and then there's a 1.33 chance of one spawning when you're chopping a tree down. Now, I usually find on day 2, 1 or 2, but usually I do it on 2, take a few minutes to go into a forest and just chop down trees. Just chop down a load, as many as you feel like, so you've got some wood just laid on the ground. It isn't going to despawn, and that means then that when it goes past day 3, if you're short of wood, and you don't want to risk running into one of them tree guards and being unlucky, you'll have chopped down plenty of wood that's just laid on the floor for you to go back and pick up later, whenever you want it. So, yeah, I usually find that's quite a handy little thing to do. Okay, this next one, I'm not sure. I'll call it a tip, but I'm not sure it would be. But it's something that I like to do personally. I get asked a lot, when I find a touchstone, why don't I destroy the heads and get the pig skins and that? And this is why. Because what I look for is a pig village, which is what you're seeing right now. Because that's usually where you get the highest concentration of houses, pig houses. So what I like to do is, I like to find a pig village, and then I'll destroy the pig heads around a touchstone. And then I'll usually use those pig skins to make pig houses, and sometimes build a village even up to 15, say, houses, which I actually think will protect you against just about any amount of hounds. Okay, so here we are with Wolfgang now, and for this tip, what I'm going to say is, just because food is there doesn't mean always pick it up. If you've got a day or two's worth of food with you, and you run into something like a carrot, sometimes just leave it in the ground, because there's no point picking it up and leaving it in your pocket rotting when you don't need it. By about night 2 or 3, you're going to have a crock pot anyway. So sometimes leave them in the ground and just come back later if you need them to pick them up to add to recipes. It's better to have them in the ground when you need them rather than have them in your pocket rotting when you don't need them. So just be picky about what you pick. Okay, so this tip is probably the biggest one I can give. Just like in housing, the thing you look for when planning your first base is Location, location, location. It's very important you get the right place. Now, savannas make a really good base as long as there's no beefalo in, because believe me, you don't want red-ass beefalo in your base because you'll never get near it and they'll just kill you every time you go close. So don't actually pick a piece of savanna with beefalo in. But savanna makes a really excellent first base simply because there's usually a high amount of grass to gather. There's usually quite a lot of bunny rabbit holes, which is perfect, of course, for putting your traps down, and so it makes a really good base. Now remember, when you've got your fire down, get your science machine down ASAP. Right, you want that down really as soon as you can, just to give you access to the basic recipes that you need, or basic crafting recipes. Now when that's down, you're next looking to get your alchemy engine down. Simply because I know there's a third one now with the shadow manipulator, but if you can get the science machine and the chaos and the alchemy engine down, that gives you access to all that you'll need right now to keep, to get you, say, at least good halfway or 3/4 through the game. You can get the shadow manipulator down later, but for now you need really them two up, so looking to gain them as soon as possible. But as I say, Savannah is really good for first base, as you can see here. I found just running around. This is on day 1. Just going into day 2. I found a place with 4 or 5 bunny rabbit holes. It's perfect. Loads of grass just behind, as you can see. I did find a little bit of a base that the game puts in at times where it gives you things, but that's not important here. What's important here is that it's got the grass and the rabbits and things like that. Also, one other thing I find quite handy is if you look, there's a road running straight across the front of my base. I like to do that as well. I like to build every base I build, I like to build it near a road so I can get to it quickly. And also, if I start to lose where I am, all I know is I've just got to get on that road and just run along it. Eventually I'm going to find my base, so I won't get lost. And if I need to get to my base in a hurry, I might have hounds after me, or it might just be getting night and I might not have the things I need to make a fire or whatever. But whatever the reason, if I need to get to my base quickly, if I put it close to a road, I can just run along the road and get there fast. So I will always say, try and make your base near a road and look for Savannah to start your first base off. Okay, so once the alchemy engine's in place, which I'm just putting here, the last thing you need up, of course, to make a base kind of comfortable is a crock pot, because of course the crock pot recipes is a lot better than eating a carrot or berries and things like that. And since you're in the savannah now, where you've got all the rabbits you can get from the traps that you've put down, just get a crock pot set up, and that'll be you nice and comfortable in this place for a little while now. So yeah, science machine, alchemy engine, crock pot. I mean, you could, some will say chests and things like that, but you can just throw things on the floor if they're not perishable. They're not going to despawn, so just throw them on the floor and they'll be safe. So, but make sure you really go for them 3 things to get you started. Okay, there you go. That is me done now. So hopefully these few tips, I don't know how many I've given you, but I will know in editing. As I do it, I'll put the number on screen and say tip 1 and things like this. Now, anybody who's listening to this, before you start to tell me in comment that my tips are rubbish because this is not what you do, listen. Before you type that, think. I'm giving you tips based on what I do. I get a lot of people ask me for tips, which means I can only tell them what I do. I can't tell them what you do or what everybody else does. I can only say what I do. This is how I start. These are the tips I start with. These are the things that are on my mind when I start. If they're not on your mind, if you do it a different way, great. I hope it works for you. I hope it's amazing for you. Honestly, I don't mind. That's what's good about this game. People can do it different ways and still do an amazing job. This is my tips for me. They work for me, so therefore it's right for me. Okay? So there you go. Hope this helps. Thanks for watching, guys. And you take care. Bye for now.